What is up, everybody? Jordan Miller here with Run to Gun. We are rocking another episode of the Live Beyond Average podcast. It's been a little while since I have had a guest on. Been doing a lot of solo stuff early in the morning, driving to work. And so today I'm bringing on a new friend of mine. And I tell you what, he is an authentic guy and one of the kindest guys I have met in a long time. I am really fun for our new relationship kicking off here. His name is Dakota Ennis, and he is the owner of Comfort Tactical. Dakota, what is up, brother?
What's up, Jordan? Thanks for having me on here, dude. It's been such an honor to listen to your run to gun reps in the morning, and it's just something that I definitely wanted to be a part of. So thanks for having me on here, man.
Absolutely, dude. I'm stoked. So people don't even know how we met, and it's crazy because we met because we have two of the same mentors and coaches that we work with.
So yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, yes. And I don't know, we can chop that up a little bit. The King's Council, it's a shameless plug.
Oh, dude, exactly, right. So tell everybody about this King's Council. I joined back in January. When did you join the King's Council? Same time, right?
Yeah, I actually think we joined because you joined from the online event, right?
Yep, the online CEO, January 1st event, right?
Yep. So we actually joined around the exact same time. So that's awesome. Yeah. I actually heard about the CEO of Your Life event for the people that are listening that don't know what that is. It was basically a 5-day virtual summit that was, as an hour every day that basically broke down the 5 pillars and the 7 days of creation. But just, it was a really powerful message from Steve Weatherford and Riley Meek. And at the end of it, yeah, man, we both signed up because I think, I don't know about you, but I saw the vision and the value in not only having business coaching, but having Christian business coaches, and faith tied in with business and life, and really showing up in your relationships has been something that I've definitely taken from the group. And I mean, I could go down a rabbit trail on that, but it's just it's been a great and meeting you has been one of the best parts because we talk at least a few times a week just about business or life or some of the hunts that you've been on, and it's been great getting to know you, man.
Yeah, and it's crazy because what you said there with we joined this group, it's about business, it's about life, it's about relationships, it's about not religion but having a relationship with God. So it's really cool and empowering, and we both kind of how we connected was through how that tribe is built and brought together. It allows all the people within it to be able to connect really easily. And so I think, Dakota, you actually reached out to me, and we just connected on like a FaceTime, I believe, on that first call, or like a private Zoom or something, and just connected, man. And I was like, I like this guy. He just had lots of similarities. You had that good energy, and we were both holding each other accountable on, we both had that business similarity, but we both wanted to show up better in our marriages. Like we were really, that was kind of that kickoff point. How we related to each other was we wanted to just show up for each other's marriages, be better husbands, be better dads. And how are we going to do that? Okay, well, now we have this inner circle. We're going to build our circle to encourage each other and lift each other up and help each other do that, because as men, we don't have to walk alone. And we tend to think that we have to walk this journey alone because we got to be big, tough, burly men. But what a lot of times that piece is missing is another dude right beside us that like puts our hand on their shoulder and just is like, man, I got you. I'm going through the same thing. Let's get better together. And it's pretty epic, man, on how the results happen that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was like, I think, like you said, it connected us right away because you were like, man, I just starting to dive into these devos with my wife, going through the devotional book. And I was like, I need that in my life. And so that's when I reached out and I was like, hey, what's the devotional book? And then my wife and I started doing devotionals, and it's been a game changer. So I just value our relationship and super thankful for the King's Council, for bringing us together, man.
Absolutely, man. It's been a blessing with a lot of alignments here in the last couple of months, I think, for both of us. And what was cool is the alignment that we have with both of our businesses too. We're in similar industry, and we didn't know that when we were kind of connecting. And so it was just really cool. Dakota, before we get into Comfort Tactical, because we're going to dive into that, because I am really excited about the launch of Comfort Tactical, what you're going to be doing, because you are solving a problem that I had for years. And so I connect to your product so much, and I cannot wait to get my hands on a pair. But before we dive into that, let's get into a little bit about your back history, your origin story, man. Dakota, tell us where you're from, what you did as a kid. Just dive into yourself a little bit. This is a shameless plug, man. Just really let people know who you are, and let people connect with you who are watching this on YouTube or who are listening in their earbuds. Let them really just connect with you, man. So don't feel like you're talking too much. Get into it.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Iowa. My grandparents had a farm, so definitely had some of the upbringing of, working hard like when I was young, and that's really played into my adult life. After leaving Iowa, after high school, I was big into football, man. I always had the dream, like a lot of people did. I was like, I'm going to the league. Ended up going to play for a private Christian school down in Springfield, Missouri. Man, but there's a common theme throughout my life. Let me start with, I was the oldest of 5 kids. So I've always, had to kind of step up and be a leader to my younger siblings. And, that carried over to the football field where I was a linebacker, and, always worked to be my best. I wanted to be the captain. I wanted to be the leader of the defense. And so that carried over into college. But I think a theme from my life, and that you'll see plays out here, is that I always had a plan for myself. I was always like, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do. But what you're going to see throughout the story is that, like, God had a bigger plan outside of my own, because my plan was always like, I'm going to the league, like I said, and then once I get to college, I ended up getting injured my first year. And so that just kind of like changed the trajectory of my life, really. So after getting injured, basically I tore everything in my shoulder, my pec, rotator cuff, shattered my scapularis, ended up going, getting a surgery, had a pretty major surgery, was out for 6 months, did the whole PT thing. The goal was actually to get back on the field. And so went through about a year of PT and just rehab, came back for a spring game that my first year of college, and basically, went for a tackle. We were just playing in the spring game, and my shoulder just got ripped back, and I was like, it's never going to be the same. That was the moment when it hit me, when it's like, football's done for me.
Done, dude.
So I say that because a lot of my identity was wrapped up in football.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to do. I was also studying criminal justice. At that time, I wanted to be a police officer. That's what I'd wanted to be since I was little. So I thought, and kind of where I transition here, and this connects with my story, is after the fire department, or I'm sorry, not the fire department, not there yet. But after playing football, I got to a point where it was like, man, now what? Do I continue to study to go to criminal justice, or, where do I go?
Yeah.
And kind of connecting the dots here, after that, I found myself at a volunteer fire department. And this is where the fire department comes in, is I started running a couple of calls with them, and I got kind of that passion back for working as a team, the athletic piece of being a firefighter, and I just started running some calls, and I was like, man, if I love running calls this much, like, I might as well get paid for it, right? If I'm doing it for free, I might as well get paid for it. Right. And so that's when I completely shifted, stopped studying criminal justice, went and got my EMT, went through the fire academy. Actually, out of that fire academy, I was recruited full-time to the fire department that I did the academy at. And yeah, man, that transitioned into a 4-year career with the fire department. And kind of getting into a lot of personal development. Like, as you're a firefighter, you're constantly working on yourself. How can I improve in all the areas of my life, including the skills that are performed on a fire ground? Like, you're always trying to get your times down when you're laying hose, or when you're throwing a ladder, or, there's just all this competitive.
Yeah, that competitive nature is coming out, and you're getting to serve that competitiveness that you had for actual, like, organized sport previously. into
exactly.
professional life. But I want to put you on pause really quick and go back to, you mentioned like, okay, you got injured, you rehabbed up, you got better, got back on the field, re-injured, and you said like that's when you knew it was over.
Yep.
And you said that's where you mentioned that you were struggling right there because you had wrapped up so much of your identity into Dakota the football player. And dude, man, you just hit me so hard because I struggled with the same thing when my basketball career was over. And I just wanted to jump into that quickly with you and
Yeah.
just touch on that because I think so many people relate to that, and within sports, but also just within a ton of areas of their life because of that. For me, Jordan, the basketball player, for you, Dakota, the football player.
Right.
And for somebody out there listening, might be, John, the accountant who, worked full time this accounting thing, and something went wrong and he got fired and something happened. Dude, dive into that on how you really felt when you were struggling through that and some of the things that you did that helped you climb out of that hole, because we know we've been through it. That is a true dark hole when you have identified yourself as something. And it's a struggle, man. So dive into that a little bit if you can.
Totally. Yeah. No, I appreciate you slowing me down, man. I'm like a bulldozer. I'll run right
I
through the
love it.
story. So
You're
thanks for
my kind of guy, dude.
thanks for holding me back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to that, man, one piece that I did kind of skip over was, the identity was so wrapped up in football, after, I wouldn't say it hit me like right away, but like within a few months of like not being on the field and then watching your teammates go back out for the next season. And it's like, man, what do I do now? And there was definitely a season of, I didn't realize it then because, I was a macho man back in college. But I realize it now. There was a season of depression. Like it really was. It was like, man, what do I do with my life? Like, this is what I thought I was always going to do. And I got just really complacent. I got lazy. I mean, just a different person from who you saw a year ago that was working out at 6 a.m., studying and then going to practice and then working out again, or whatever that schedule was. So just getting in this place where I was like, man, what do I do now? And it actually affected my relationships. It affected my health. I actually gained one of the reasons and kind of where I started my fitness journey. I gained a whole bunch of weight because basically, they put you on this regimen when you're working out like, 6 days a week and you're doing all this stuff. And so they're feeding you they're like, eat 5 times a day. We want you to be as heavy and hit as hard as you can. So we want you to be heavy, but fast,
Right.
so they're feeding you. So when you stop all that exercise and you're just laying around, but you're still eating the same amount, like I shot up to, I think I was almost like 240, and
Mm-hmm.
my playing weight was, about 215. So
Okay.
it was, man, that transition, and when I say my relationships were damaged, truly, I was dating. She's now my wife, so that's a God story in itself. But we had been dating for about 2 years, and
Okay.
we actually separated for about 4 months, because there was something that she saw in me that's like, this isn't the same person that I met,
Mm.
because I really just downhill spiraled. I just didn't want to hang out, was lazy, my house was a mess, just all these different things added up. And I got to the point where I think it was really once I lost that relationship that I had for 2 years with my girlfriend, now my wife. um just like something's got to change, and that was around the same time I got on the fire department and
Okay.
started on the steps to personal development. And the first one was losing the weight, right?
Okay.
So I dove in and went from 240 to 175 over the course of a couple years. It was a healthy loss.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that just spiraled into this progression. And if anybody's wondering, I reconnected with my girlfriend, and I was like, hey, I've changed a couple things in my life. I'm kind of back on the right track. Like, you want to go on a date again? So
Nice.
that was about 4 or 5 months later, and
That's
yeah,
awesome,
man,
dude.
been great ever since. Does that kind of answer your question?
Absolutely. And I just think, man, you connected right there because so many men, I think, really struggle with that and their identity. Because I think men tend to tie who we are with what we do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Versus who we are because who God says we are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that's a really common thing. I struggled with it heavily too. And it was because we tend to judge ourselves, whether we know it or not, by looking up at the scoreboard, right? So how we performed on the football field, what our 40 time is, how many points I put up on the basketball court, what my free throw percentage is, all of that is that's scoreboard watching. And so we tend to condition ourselves to feel good off of how we perform. And so when we perform bad or our ability to perform gets taken away, you can't
Yeah.
even go out there and perform. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, it's just like, well, the scoreboard says 0 all the time. And that is
Yeah.
a hard thing to deal with, right? And we go into that depression that we don't even know it's depression. And because we're tough, right? We don't let that. We got to put on a fake smile. We got to put it on. And we don't want people to know that we have moments of weakness when really, like, this is why this King's Council is so powerful, right? That's why putting yourselves in awesome circles. That way, when one guy starts to stumble, the other guys lift us all up, right? You just grab on. Nope, you ain't falling. I got you. And so, like, these are awesome lessons for people because they might be in that same season of like, oh, dude, I've been falling for a while, but the reason I keep falling is because I'm alone. Like, I don't have that circle of people to help lift us up. And so, like, we had to dig ourselves out alone, which takes extra time. Like, it takes a lot of time. And so when we tend to, if we would have been more wrapped up back then, like when we were in college, of understanding whose we are versus what we think we are because of what we do, man, imagine how much easier that transition would have been. Not that it wouldn't have been still difficult, but it would have probably been a lot easier for us, right? Like,
Totally. Be like, on to the next thing, all
yeah,
right, that season didn't work out. What else does God have planned for me? But it
yeah,
was
because
not that simple.
you had big dreams. Like, I had the same things, man. I was like, we were gonna go pro, and I call them discouraging dreams. Like, we dream so big that sometimes you look at the dream and you're like, oh, this is almost discouraging, but they're awesome. Like, and I think that's how big we should be dreaming, but it also makes the fall sometimes more difficult. But it's crazy to think and look back on those things that we thought we were dreaming as absolute big as we possibly could at the moment, and we still got broken down and put into other better, bigger things because those dreams weren't even big enough for what God's plan was for us. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, that's
absolutely.
crazy to think about. That, like, your football dream going pro, that wasn't even big enough, dude. That's why it was like, that's why it was taken away, because it wasn't big enough. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
I just think it's epic, dude. So you are now reconnected with your girlfriend, now wife, and
Yep.
you're on the firefighter. Let's keep going. Let's keep this freight train rolling, man.
Yeah, man. So, and I just want to touch on that real quick
Yeah.
and just say that this is like to my point where I was trying to do this by myself. Like, there's a possibility if I was trying to do it when I was connected with God in my relationship that I could have gone further with football. I don't know, but I
Mm,
was just trying to do it on myself, so I wasn't getting anywhere.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
was confusing movement with progress, and
I like that.
yeah, man.
I like that.
And so once I get to the fire department, reconnected with my wife, at that point, somewhere along the line, we got engaged. But I would say within about 2 years of being at the fire department, I started to, I'd done so much work in self-development, and I started to look at the future. And I started to think, okay, let's see. I'm happy to share my salary. I was in Missouri. I was making $27,000 a year as a full-time career firefighter,
Yep.
and I'm looking at the next steps. I'm saying, okay, a lieutenant, I'm going to be at 40,000, and then at a captain, I'm going to be at 50, and then I'm going to cap at $65,000 a year in 20 years. And
Right.
I was like, there's nothing wrong with that, man.
Mhm.
Some people, but I just felt called to be able to provide, enough that would not only fill my plate for my family, but would spill over, and I would be able to help charities, and I could. That's a whole nother story. I've been to Haiti three
Absolutely.
times, so I've done a lot of mission work out there, and I've just seen the poverty, and something that I've always wanted to give back. And you can't do that on $27,000 a year. You're
Right.
barely making enough to feed yourself. So
Right.
that was something where I was like, man, what do I do? Like, what can I do on my, and it originally started, what can I do on my off days? Because I worked 48 96s. So I worked 2 days on, and I had 4 days off.
Okay.
So, and some people think 4 days off, that sounds great. But I mean, your day after shift, you're pretty much recovering. And the day before shift, you're basically prepping to go on shift. So it's like
Yes.
having a couple of days off, but it allowed me to think like, what else could I do to make money? Really, that was the big thing, because I wanted to give financially to some of these charities.
Okay.
And, I basically came up with, I want to own my own business. Like, but what does that look like? And at the time, you're a trainer, so you can relate to this. It was kind of during the online fitness like boom, like everybody started going online and training online. And then, uh, you know, so I started reading about that and learning about it. And one thing that I noticed was like everybody that was owning their own business knew how to sell to some capacity, some
Okay.
capacity. They
Mhm.
were like, they have sales skills, they can. And so I was like, dude, I don't know anything about sales. That's the first step for me. Like, I'm gonna go get a sales job just to learn how to sell.
Wow.
Like, I was
Yeah.
like, I don't care how much I make, like, just teach me how to sell. And so I actually sold printer cartridges for about a year and a half, was able to go through a series of sales training and classes, and that really just boosted me into the world of business and
Mm.
entrepreneurship and working with business owners. I'm getting kind of sidetracked here, but
No, that's
basically
crazy, dude. I love it.
that propelled me into the skills. So now, fast forward to where I'm at right now. I live in Tacoma, Washington. When I got out here, the plan was to continue to do B2B sales, to develop those skills, because I had changed the mindset out of the fitness world. I was doing it, it was too much money driven. I
Yep.
wasn't really passionate about training others. And so I really disconnected from that. And I was like, man, I still want to own my own business, but I don't know what in.
Okay.
And yeah, any questions on that series before I jump into Comfort Tactical?
Yeah. So I love the self-awareness you had, because that's something that is, a missing piece for a lot of us too, is, and we've dove into that a lot on this podcast over the last year on, you know, slowing yourself down
Yep.
and asking yourself questions and figuring out like what those things are. And that's what you did. You were like, okay, like I've noticed that, sell all these people have this common denominator who are making money. They know how to sell. And so like you didn't just like sit there and be like, okay, well, I know that. No, you got up, took action, like, okay, how do I need to learn how to sell? I need to get myself in the arena to
Yep.
learn how to sell. So you went and got a job that enabled you to take classes, to learn about selling, to connect with business owners, to look at people's businesses. Like that's super interesting to me, man, because that's not a common thing. That's an uncommon thing, but it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
common
Totally.
denominator between people who are successful. If you talk to anybody who's successful, or what we consider to be, successful business owners or coaches or whatever it is, it seems to be that they take action and put themselves in the same room as the people who they know how to do what it is they want to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
Totally.
it's crazy. It's just kind of like a non-excuse thing. They just make it happen. They get themselves in the room, they get their foot in the door, and then they go, and then it just starts, the momentum starts to snowball. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool, man. I don't think we've talked about that. So that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I don't know if I speak on that enough. Maybe I should a little bit more, but that time of my life when I was learning sales, there was so much like that. It's hard to even explain, that I just broke out of my shell,
Mm,
and I just was more comfortable making those cold calls. I got more comfortable public speaking. I mean, all these different things that I was, yeah, I wasn't a shy person. I was always outgoing, but it's on a different level when you walk into a business completely cold, and you attempt to sell them something, and you attempt to build rapport very quickly and get through the decision maker, or get through to the decision maker, and all those steps. So that they're definitely skills that I'm carrying over to Comfort Tactical. I'm getting some breakup there. Are
how
you
are you?
are you at all?
I'm so good. Are you
Okay. No, I'm
taking
good. I'm
notes?
good now.
Okay,
It
let me
looked like
know.
you froze for a sec.
Yep. No, I was taking
Oh,
notes, man, because what you were doing so much of, like, we think of you, some people might think of like, I was at that job, like I went and sold ink cartridges for a year and a half.
yep.
And you look back and we all have these like steps, it feels like, to get to where we're going. And a lot of times it can be viewed as like a wasted step or a job that like I hated. But
Yeah.
it really isn't, because what you were like, a lot of times what we're doing in those segments is putting in reps. Like we talk about the run two gun reps, man. Like
Yep.
what is that? What is that for me? It's me practicing. You know what I mean? It's me putting in reps. That way, when opportunity rises, it's good. Like you're doing the exact same thing. Like you're in this business learning how to sell. You're going in selling these ink cartridges or whatever it is you're doing, and you're putting in reps, man. Like all of those skills learned over time, public speaking learned. You probably were like, if it was recorded that first time you spoke, it was like, you look at it now, you'd probably be embarrassed, right? Like,
it was horrible. It was horrible. But I mean, man, every time, like, if I can touch on that real quick, like, public
yes,
speaking was not my thing. Like, I had to give a football speech in high school, and it was horrible. I mean, like, it was absolutely, like, I was like red, I'm speaking to like 300 parents, and it was
yes,
awful. But
dude,
fast forward to,
yeah,
man, I remember the biggest thing, and the biggest thing that changed for me was being in a room of like 40 people. And it was like a networking event. I don't know if you've ever been to it, but everybody gets up and they give their like 30-second spiel or whatever.
sure.
And I just remember the feeling of like, okay, this person's going next, and then it's me. And I just have to like build the courage, stand up, give my thing, and then sit back down. And when I started seeing like people react and they're like, oh, they actually enjoyed hearing what I was saying, that built the confidence up. So that's kind of what I meant by the public speaking piece. But
Yeah, you put in the rep, man. And when you put in the
yeah,
rep, the
yeah,
muscles get flexed. It gets, you get bigger, you get stronger, you get better at it. And that's happens by taking the action. You took the action to get the job. You took the action to go train yourself. And then that, what did it do? It built self-confidence. And that self-confidence allowed you to then move further into exactly what the goal was owning your own business.
owning my own business. So we're here.
Yeah,
Comfort Tactical. Let me tell you how it started, where the mindset
absolutely.
came from. So Comfort Tactical is something that that I had an idea for actually a while ago, back when I was at the fire department. What
Okay.
would happen is it was like one of those problems that needed solved, but you just don't know it's a big enough problem yet. You just keep thinking about it, and you're like, oh, you never connect the two, that, oh, this could be a business. And what that was for me is when I would get off shift at the fire department, after a 48-hour shift, is I always conceal carry. This is a concealed carry brand. It's an apparel brand. And so when I would get off and be like, man, if anybody knows, when you conceal carry, you basically have to wear jeans or something, that you can wear a belt with, to conceal, which can be just uncomfortable, especially after like a long shift. And I was like, man, I wish I could wear sweatpants. And I connected that back then, but I never thought about it. So fast forward to a couple years later, I'm actually out here in Tacoma, Washington, and my wife and I were wanting to go for a walk out, and it was like springtime, May, June, and we we basically were like, oh, let's go for a walk. And I was like, oh, I gotta carry my pistol. And so I was like, oh, I gotta wear jeans. And I was like, wait a second, why can't I do this in sweatpants? Like, and so
Yes.
search, I go search, and that kind of like, that's and I feel like a big piece here is that I was starting to surround myself with entrepreneurs,
Mm,
thinking like, what kind of problems can I solve? And so my mind was always firing on ideas, and like, what can I do? What can I solve? And this was one of them that was near and dear to my heart, because I wanted to be comfortable when I concealed, especially like going on walks with my wife, or just trips to the grocery store, or you know outside of your day-to-day life.
yeah.
And so basically where that led me to was, oh, there's no sweatpants out there for concealed carry. And one thing led to a next. I was in my living room cutting up a pair of my tactical pants. Basically,
Yes.
basically sewed the waistband onto these sweatpants, and I just put a belt on, and I was like, wow, this is super comfortable. Like,
Yes.
this is the idea. And yeah, that's kind of where it stemmed from. So
Tell
what
me you
comfort
have photos of cutting up those pants, dude.
I
Yes.
did. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see them, man. Like, because I
Yeah.
bet it's just an absolute mess, man. And it's gonna be
Oh, it's
epic. Dude, I love it.
horrible.
That's how all great things get started right there.
Yeah, man. No, I literally took a pair of my 5'11" pants that I wore at the fire department, and I just cut the waistband off, and this is gonna sound super funny, but I took fishing line and
Okay.
a needle, because I didn't have any sewing stuff. And
Yes.
that's literally what I sewed the waistband on with, just to like put it on, wear around the house. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this could actually work. And so one thing led to a next. I actually connected with my business partner. I'm a co-founder of Comfort Tactical. We
Okay.
connected, started brainstorming, sat down, prototyping, went through a couple months of the prototyping phase and people wearing, you know, our prototypes and like, what do you think? And we got a lot of great feedback of like, man, this is the most comfortable way to conceal. Like, I never want to take these off. Like,
Yes.
because one big piece here is that a lot of people will not carry to be
Right.
comfortable. You know, they'll leave their weapon at home just to be comfortable. And that's not, you know, what we want. You know, if
Yeah,
you
we're
can
giving
feel,
up, yeah, giving up safety for comfort. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the way, you know, we definitely solved that. Going through that couple months of prototyping, we really dialed in and figured out what people wanted to see in the sweatpants, how the waistband, you know, how they fit, you know, what else can we add to make them more tactical, I guess you could say, like more practical, really, for someone that conceals. And yeah, man, we came up with a great design. What we did is we made them from scratch. We took fleece sweatpants, we reinforced the waistband with the heavy material and added belt loops to the sweatpants so
Awesome.
that you could wear any nylon belt that you already have, like a tactical belt. You can actually conceal carry inside the waistband or outside the waistband. So these are cool if you want to go like on a hike out in South Dakota or something like that. You can just open carry, you know, if you're going to, I don't know, people that live on a farm, if you're going to check cattle or whatever it is, man, throw on the sweatpants, throw
Absolutely.
on your pistol and head out there. And yeah, so
Dude,
basically the only other feature that we added, we're going to launch our base model actually next Monday. Not sure when this podcast is going to be released, but next Monday, April 5th, we're going to be launching Comfort Tactical. The other thing that we added to these sweatpants are we added deeper pockets and
okay.
we reinforce the pockets.
Oh, nice.
So one issue that a lot of people run into when they wear sweatpants in general is when they sit down, their keys fall out of their pocket or their phone falls out. Or
Cell
I
phone
mean,
slides out, like
yeah,
sitting on a leg press or something. Your phone's always
yeah,
falling out. What's worse than that?
yeah, exactly. And so we made deeper and wider pockets for these sweatpants.
Awesome.
They're custom designed, and I can actually tell you on a personal level, I took my Glock 48 and I could put it in my pocket and just walk.
Really?
I mean, there's some
Nice.
pretty serious pockets, so you're not going to have to worry about your keys, your phone falling out. And then the other feature that we added to them is we reinforced the corner of the pocket. I don't know if you've ever seen like tactical pants, but like 511s, you actually have a reinforcement at the bottom of the pocket where if you slide a knife clip
Hmm.
or
Mm,
pins or something, it doesn't allow for the pocket to tear. So
yes,
we've reinforced that corner. So
dude, I
yeah,
love
man,
that.
yeah, we're super excited to launch. A lot of people, man, have given us really good feedback on the idea and just that they've had the problem of like not being comfortable when they concealed carry. And I think that's, you know, another level that we connected on as well, because can you kind of speak on your story? And when you first heard the idea, you were like, oh my goodness, this is something that I've had an issue with for a long time.
Yeah, so I think we connected on this. You were telling me about it maybe like late January, maybe early February when we first
Yeah, yeah,
were
yeah, it was
talking.
pretty early.
Yeah, when we were talking about, how you were launching soon, and you told me about it, and I was like, whoa, 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 wait, I want a pair right now, like because you were solving a problem that I dealt with for years. So I trained in managing commercial gyms from 2011 all the way until 2016 ish, and then I was still going around to like managing some different supplement stores, things like that, where I was wearing sweats around all the time up until 2019. And I would always take when I was training all those years, I would take my duffel in because I'd have like I go in at 5 a.m. and I wasn't leaving until 7 at night. And so all my stuff for the day is in my duffel bag. I have all my food, my shoes, my gym clothes to work out, my gym clothes to train my people in. So I look professional, all that stuff in my day bag. But I'd wear sweats or shorts, right? And so we had a little trainer spot in the big commercial gym that, we have our trainer's desk where we'd sell our personal training, but I'd have to leave. And I'm a big time, I like to carry. But I've never could carry on me. And in the commercial gym, when you have thousands of people in and out of there every day, you don't know what could happen. Obviously, there's always that opportunity that, there's an active shooter, there's an issue, that something. So I would leave and I felt super dumb for it. And I didn't like it, but I would have my concealed weapon would be in my gym bag that was behind the trainer's desk.
Right.
Right. And so I would still have to figure out a way to navigate to get myself to the trainer's desk to get my weapon if I was going to defend myself. Right. Or
Yeah.
I just have to jet and get out of the building. I don't want to do that. Like the point is I could be the only one with the weapon to stop this thing. And
Yep.
so I always felt super uncomfortable not being able to carry for 12 hours, 13 hours a day in the gym. And when you were telling me about this, I was like, dude, this product totally serves me, because I would have been rocking that thing for years. And luckily, I'll still rock it. I train in a personal training studio, but now it's like I'll still be able to rock it, because I literally live in sweatpants and camouflage is how I make a living. I couldn't be more
Yeah,
excited
yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
And so I mean, luckily in the camo, I can wear my conceal. I can always carry that. But in the big portion of my life that I'm wearing sweats, I can't. And now you're just like,
Yeah.
your product is solving a problem that has been on my mind for years. And when you talk about how, dude, you got the vision for it, because that was a problem from 2011 to now that I've had, but not once has anything crossed in my mind to be like, oh, how do I solve that problem? You know what I mean? Like, there was your gift and your vision in your head that was just like, this is a problem, and like, this is how I solve it. Okay, I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna cut up $100 pair of pants of 511 tackle. I can't get that out of my mind, dude. Like, I can just vision like chopping up this expensive pair of pants. They're not cheap pair of pants.
They're not. Yeah.
And prototyping this, but that's the commitment. Like, that's the vision, the clear vision and commitment you had for it, was to cut up a pair of your expensive pants and take fishing line and construct these, man, like, and create that vision. And I'm so pumped about that, because I just know this is going to be huge, dude. And I can't wait on Monday to buy myself a pair, because I'm getting some sent out here right away, and I'm going to be flaunting them off to everybody.
Yeah. No, thanks. I appreciate it. And it's funny, the fishing line story. I want to preface this. They are no longer made with fishing line. they
like 20-pound test or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember what it was. Probably it's for salmon, so some pretty thick stuff. But no, we're actually, kind of leads me to the manufacturing piece. We're going to be manufactured right here in the USA. They're going to be manufactured in Dallas, Texas. So making them from scratch, local manufacturers. And that was a really important piece to us with manufacturing, because we knew that a lot of the people that would be buying this product would value the product being, made in the USA. So it's something that obviously costs more to make in the USA, but it's really an important piece to us. So all our clothes are made here in the USA. On Monday, we're going to be launching the first pair of, I'm going to launch the name here. That's the first pair of off-duty sweats. We came up with the off-duty sweats, and kind of the name behind it is because, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of officers, a lot of people that work day jobs, a lot of first responders that are going to get quote unquote off duty, and you want to transition into the sweats. So that's where the off-duty name came from. It's going to be launching the off-duty sweats on Monday, along with t-shirts, hats, and masks, and a couple other things for pre-order. So super excited to launch our store, and excited to see where it goes.
What time is that store launching? Do you have a time?
Yeah, no, don't have a time nailed in yet. But
I want to be the first one to order. So
I was gonna say, let me put one out there.
Goes live.
Yeah, exactly. Let me put one out there right now. Let's launch at 8 a.m. on Monday. So
8 a.m. You guys heard it, 8 a.m. Monday, April 5th. And I'm guessing that's 8 a.m. Pacific time. So if any of you guys are listening out here in South Dakota, that's going to be 10 a.m. Central. So jump on.
And if you're anywhere else, do the math on that, because
exactly. You're on the East Coast. It's 10
let me give you the time. Yeah, exactly. And so we're going to be launching. You're going to be able to purchase the Comfort Tactical sweats, the off-duty sweats, through our website. It's comforttactical.com. Sorry about that. It's comforttactical.com, or you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at Comfort Tactical, and we'll have a shop set up on there as well. So yeah, man, super excited. You can hear my passion behind the sweatpants. I'm excited to launch, and I really appreciate you having me on here and just, letting me share. And if do you have any questions on the sweatpants or anything that I missed that I could share that we've talked about in the past?
Dude, you're prepared, man. Your passion and preparedness did wonderful. Excuse me, but I'm just excited for you, man, because when the passion like that comes through, and your vision was coming through, and the being prepared, good things are going to happen, man. So I'm excited to get on over to comforttactical.com on Monday, order myself a pair. If all of you guys want to jump on and support them too, like you said, Facebook, Instagram is Comfort Tactical, right? At Comfort Tactical.
Yep, Comfort Tactical.
Perfect. And so you can just connect with Dakota over there if you have questions as well on his pants coming out. Man, I can't wait to get myself a pair and show them off around here.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm excited to get run to gun in some off-duty sweats and
Absolutely.
man, I also have to give you a plug as well with your supplements, because the Seeker supplements is something that I've been taking for the past couple of weeks that you've known and you know how hard it is to get a business off the ground. I mean,
it's hard.
There's a lot of steps, in getting your shipping set up and getting your website launched and getting your product perfect and all these things. And Seeker, the original Seeker, has actually helped me so much. I've been taking it every morning, and it's helped me focus and just really get the hard things done that require a lot of focus and attention. And so I just want to give you, a plug on that, because it's been super helpful in my life, man. And,
awesome.
And I, super thankful for you.
It makes me so happy, because that's what it's there for. Because, we've gotten to connect over the last couple months to kind of close up the story a little bit. We both are a direct to consumer company. And so, we've got to connect and talk about how, we're doing our manufacturing, how, we get our products and we hold our own inventory and we do the distribution ourselves. It's not like somebody's taking an order and somebody else is filling out this order for us, and we have somebody else's product that we're selling with our logo on it. Like, no, like our products are our own. Like, we created these businesses. We put our brand on our own product. We are taking our own hands and putting them in boxes and writing the thank you notes and taping it and hauling it to hauling it to whatever distribution you're going through, whether it be US, PTO, whatever it is. It is that time we are personally giving into the tangible product to our customers, and how much time and effort and thought and that goes into that. Like every single order, like you are touching every single order and putting out, and how important that is for people to understand. Because I think it's just very common to think, oh, it's coming out of Amazon distribution center, and it's just, you just have it on the website and it's being shipped somewhere. Like, no, like you are personally putting that in a box and shipping it out to somebody with like your own love and care and passion. And it's just a rare thing. I know that's been the number one question for me. So I'm sure it's going to come up for you as well, that people think it's just like my own label around somebody else's product. Like, no, it's mine. Like, same with you. Like, no, it's not just your logo put on somebody else's pants. Like, no, you created these things, and it's just a very special thing that I want people to understand. And I know how much conversation Dakota and I have had over just getting over these obstacles of logistics of like ordering your apparel, your materials, the cloth and things like that, and having it shipped to get manufactured and then shipping it back to yourself, and all the logistics that us business owners go through that aren't seen and understood, and how margins are lost that way, and how things happen, and why the cost is the way it is for quality and made in the USA, and the assurance of that, and supporting local and supporting small businesses, and how epic it truly is when you start to understand what a business owner like yourself goes through, the sleep lost, the effort put in, the passion put in, and then still working to provide for your family on top of everything we just talked about.
Yep.
Like, dude, you're doing epic stuff, man. And it's just like, you are literally, I feel like, just like on the foothills of the big summit. You know what I mean? Like, I just know great things are happening for you, dude. And I'm just so pumped to be a part of this small, just be your friend and be able to encourage you and watch you scale, man, because you're going to scale up to the top of that summit. It's going to be epic.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jordan. And I'm really excited, honestly, to, we're having this conversation right now, but I'm excited to look back in 5 years.
Yes.
And be like, oh, we had this podcast, talking about the launch of your business, and this is where Run to Gun's at, and this is where Comfort Tactical's at. And I think that's a cool vision that we can have as business owners and small business owners, because right now, you're right, we're writing those handwritten letters, we're packaging the boxes ourselves, but who knows where the company's going to be in 5-10 years. We might not be able to write a letter in every single order.
It might be logistically impossible to write that many hand notes a day. And I know the way you and I believe now, that we don't put self-constructed ceilings on ourselves, that
Right.
that can't happen. Because if we let our humanness take through, we can look at logistics and think, well, that seems impossible. But we know what we believe is that there is no ceiling that we're going to put on ourselves on what we can accomplish, what our businesses can do, because we know that abundance is a true thing that is very possible in our lives. And I'm just
Yeah.
pumped, dude. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll be down 5 years down the road and we'll be doing this in your giant warehouse of Comfort Tactical with
Yeah.
just aisles of different types of apparel that you're going to be kicking out.
I love that. I love that. Hopefully right next to yours, full of deer heads and elk and all this other stuff, man. I got to
Absolutely.
step up. Anybody watching the video, I got to step up my background game, man. Look at this background he's got
Dude,
over here.
I love dead animals, and you're only looking at like one little corner wall. I mean, you're not. I mean, there's dead animals all around me right now. I'm surrounded by death. But the
That's cool,
memories
man.
are alive. That's the thing, right? I mean, that is the passion that I have, man, for my side of the hunting side of the business, dude. And we'll get into that another time because I know you have a passion for that as well. And so
Yeah.
I don't doubt that there's going to be a run to gun Comfort Tactical hunt filmed at some point.
I'm
And
ready for it, man. I'm ready for it. You just let me know. We'll have
dude,
to
I'm
do a
putting it
whole
out there
podcast.
because it's going to happen.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a whole podcast just on the hunt, and I'm sure definitely gonna to have you on my podcast. I'm gonna be launching the next couple of months,
Perfect.
and yeah, just throwing that out there, and man, I appreciate you having on me, me on here, and thank you to all the listeners and people that tune in to Run to Gun, and it's been an awesome experience, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dakota. Make sure to go over, you guys, follow his Instagram page, follow the Facebook page, and support Comfort Tactical. It's going to be an epic journey, and you are getting in on the ground floor. So get in there and support it. Dakota, thank you so much for jumping on the Live Beyond Average podcast, and we will definitely have you on again, brother. We'll see you later.
Thanks, sir.